Welcome to a League of Legends Actual Champion Spotlight, featuring Ornn, the fire below the mountain.
Hey, this is pretty good stuff.
This champion is fucking useless! Look at those win rates! I can't stop dying! Yeah, I fucked up. Fuck! Why did I fucking die for? No, 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 no! Wait! That isn't much of a guide. Let's try again. So you want to main Ornn? Well, do you like horns? Do you like goats? Do you like more horns? And do you like rams? Then Ornn, the fire below the mountain, is for you. Wait, that didn't sound right either. Let's try it one last time. What's up everybody? Welcome to a guide for the new champion Ornn. So, why would you ever want to watch a guide of any sorts made by me? Well, first of all, Brickis4Head8 is a washed up League player that failed 5 times his promos to Plat 4.
And I have lost my Platinum 4 promos 5 times. 5 times.
While I'm at Plat 2. So, that makes me better than him. It also makes me a better source of information. Besides, Magikarp can't use Fly, stop doing his actual champion spotlights, so you're kinda stuck with me. If it helps, I also have him in Mastery level 5. That makes me the best player in the world with Ornn, right? Right? Without anything further to say, let's get into the guide. Ornn's passive is Living Forge. It has 2 effects. Living Forge lets Ornn buy any item, not including consumables, from any part of the map as long as he isn't in combat. Forging items takes 4 seconds, and yes, you can also buy items from base. Master Craftsman allows all allied champions to buy only 1 upgrade of the following 9 items once Ornn has reached level 13. The first part of his passive is super useful in the laning phase. It allows Ornn to win harder the lane if he's already winning it, and makes him lose lane not so bad if he's losing. He wins harder because if he gets ahead, he doesn't need to back to buy items, making him get more gold and XP than his opponent, who will have to back frequently and lose those resources. It also makes Ornn's lane easier in a losing matchup because he can buy items and spend gold while his enemies can't. The only thing that he needs to do is just back up a little bit, buy an item, and voila! You're ahead. The downside of Ornn's passive is that it loses value over time. You can't sell items, so once you get to your 3rd or 4th item, you'll have to back more often. The second part of his passive gives Ornn's team the upper hand in the late game. All of the upgrades are cost efficient. However, I cannot stress enough that you should always build these upgrades in the late game. Why? Because if you could spend 1000 gold to gain the same stats, you will be closer to complete an item if you spent your gold buying components for the item instead of the upgrades. Completed items will give you more stats through their passives than those that you will have had if you bought the upgrades. But hey, I am aware that there is a lot of math to take into consideration. So, what upgrades should you build? Don't worry, I, the snail, have your back. For mages, always buy this upgrade and never get this one. Marksmen will always build this upgrade. If any of these 2 items are in your core build, get their upgrades. For tanks, buy this upgrade if the enemy team has a lot of AD, and this one if they have a lot of AP. If you are stacking a lot of health and don't have any resistances, buy this upgrade. And finally, if you are a support and have a genuine support build, buy this upgrade. Ornn's Q is Volcanic Rupture.
One eternity later.
He slams the ground, creating a line that deals damage and slows enemy champions, stopping at maximum range or after hitting an enemy champion. After 1.1 seconds, a magma pillar spawns, knocking aside enemies. Holy crap! This ability feels so slow. It helps clear waves in combination with his W, you can combo it with your E, and if Ornn is in a losing matchup, it can be used to farm from a safe distance. But besides that, it is an extremely useless, boring, and slow ability. Oh, and I forgot to say that the damage is so fucking low, it almost feels like it heals the enemy. I mean, look at its base damage! It's fucking smaller than my ex's heart. Oh, but thank God that it scales with 100% of Ornn's AD, because definitely Ornn always builds AD. You know what? Fuck it, I'm going to clickbait this video. Tons of damage! Insane one shot! Totally broken! Ornn's W is Bellows Breath. Upon activation, Ornn shields himself for 12% of his max HP and charges in a direction at half his speed during 2.5 seconds. While charging, he breathes fire in a cone that deals from 15 to 25% of the enemy's current health. Enemies hit by the final gout of flame become brittle for 6 seconds. The next immobilizing ability used against a brittle enemy deals from 7 to 16% of the target's maximum health, and its duration is increased by 30 to 60%. Ornn's basic attacks against brittle enemies consume the mark and knocks them back. His W is amazing for everything. You want to wave clear? Use your W. You want to trade? Use your W. You want to kill someone? Use your W. You want to buy loot crate? Use promo code Bricky for 10% off from your next purchase. No, but seriously, his W is his most useful ability. You should use it to trade as often as possible because he outdamages every single champion in the game thanks to its ridiculous high percentage health damage. I mean, look at this damage! It's a level 1 ability! I swear to God that Ornn might be the only champion capable of killing Cho'Gath in the late game, and it definitely makes up for his Q's damage. It's a shame that its mana cost is pretty high, so you cannot spam it as often as you want to. Whoops! My bad. I just bought a Sapphire Crystal. Besides, you have the Brittle debuff. League of Legends has had for quite a time a stat called Tenacity, which reduces the duration of CCing abilities. Brittle is exactly the opposite of Tenacity, which makes Ornn have a great synergy with other CCing champions. Oh, and I forgot to mention the small little detail that it makes Ornn immune to any kind of CC, if it wasn't an already broken ability. Ornn's E is Searing Charge. Ornn charges in a straight line, dealing damage to enemies he passes through. He stops after a fixed distance or upon colliding with terrain. If Ornn collides with terrain, he knocks up nearby enemies for 1 second, deals additional damage, and destroys the terrain if it was created by an enemy champion. Both parts scale with Ornn's bonus armor and magic resistance. This ability is what makes his Q useful. First, you use your Q, taking advantage of the slow, and after waiting a bit, you charge into the pillar. The knockup radius and the damage of the knockup are pretty decent, so you should be using this combo in lane as often as possible. A small fun fact is that Ornn's Q and E have the same range, so you can use that to your advantage. Ornn's R is Call of the Forge God. Ornn summons a huge ram that stampedes towards Ornn. It slows down all enemies in its way and deals them a small amount of magic damage. All enemies hit become brittle. Ornn can reactivate his R to dash in a direction. If he collides with the ram, he can redirect it to deal magic damage, knock up all enemies in its way, thus consuming brittle, and make them brittle once again. His ultimate is what makes him great in teamfights. He has a huge AoE knockup that can be used to engage, disengage, or even to kill secure. The best part of it is that it deals quite a decent amount of damage if you can connect both parts of the ultimate. If the enemy have the brittle debuff from the first run, the second run will proc the brittle, and leave another brittle available to pop. But beware! You should use your R from a safe distance. because if Ornn is CC'd, you can't recast the R to get the knockup. Another small little fun fact is that Ornn's R can be cancelled with Yasuo's win roll. Yeah, Yasuo is definitely a balanced champion. Ornn is a green giant go button. It's just like a Malphite or an Alistar, except with a range engage. You are the one who decides for your team when to fight, so choose wisely. Whenever your team is grouped and the other team isn't, use your ultimate to start up a fight. Ornn is viable in the top lane, jungle, and as a support. In top lane and support his best roles, although he has great sustain in the jungle. Laning phase is Ornn's strongest stage throughout the game. You have a high kill potential even though you're a tank, so try to be as lane dominant as possible. Your QWE combo can chunk for a ton of damage regardless of the matchup. So anytime that the enemy top laner gets into range, go all in, because they will never be able to answer back to your damage. Once laning phase is over, you can go into a team fighting rampage. You have a bunch of CC, so you can combo it with any other CCing abilities from your teammates. For starting items, Corrupting Potion will always be your first item. If you are suffering a lot during laning phase, buy a Doran's Shield. For recommended builds, I like a lot what I call the split pushing Ornn build. You must buy first a Sunfire Cape or an Abyssal Mask depending on your matchup. After that, buy Warmux and then buy CC Rod Portal. You'll be able to push waves quite easily, destroy turrets thanks to the CC Rod, and you'll never have to base unless you run out of mana. Continue your build with other situational tank items. For abilities, I always max W first, E second for the reduced cooldown, and Q last, putting a point in R whenever it's possible. For recommended masteries, I always run 12 or 18 with Grasp of the Undying as your keystone mastery of choice. But Courage of the Colossus is also viable, and Bond of Stone works well if Ornn is being played as a support. For recommended runes as a top laner, you should always be using AD Reds, Scaling Health Yellows, MR Blues, and Attack Speed Quints. For matchups, Ornn destroys any melee matchup, squishes and tanks alike. You suffer a bit against ranged matchups, but can survive quite easily. Well, I hope you learned something useful, and I hope you liked the guide. Don't forget to like, favorite and subscribe. Bye bye!
I made this hammer. It was so good I named it Hammer.